Yep. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, today we'll be dealing with logical connectors. Now, if one may ask, what are logical connectors? Logical connectors are words used to join or connect two ideas that have a particular relationship. Now, these words can assist a writer to have a very grammatically correct paragraph or sentence. Now with me here I have a few examples of logical connectors. Therefore, as a result, consequently, as a consequence, hence, thus, conclusively, in conclusion, inevitably. Now, here with me I have an example of a short paragraph that has logical connectors within it. And it reads as follows. But now remember, in every paragraph we have a main idea, of which in most cases, if not in all cases, the main idea is the first sentence. And now it reads as follows. Life in a refugee camp is not easy. For one thing, there is not enough food to eat for all the people. Furthermore, there is scarce water for drinking or washing your body. Also, when living in a refugee camp, there is limited space. Additionally, or for another thing, there is usually no electricity or running water in these camps. Therefore, living in a refugee camp is a scary and difficult task, and no one should be put in these camps. Now guys, notice here, the main idea of this paragraph is life in a refugee camp is not easy. For one thing, as a logical connector and a additional signal, there is not enough food to eat for all the people. Furthermore, adding to what's been said prior to this sentence, it's a additional signal as well. There is scarce water for drinking or washing your body. Also, adding again, when living in a refugee camp, there is limited space. Additionally, as an additional signal as well, if you don't want to use additional, you can use for another thing as a synonym. Or if you do not use these both, like from here, the writer said for one thing, you can say firstly, and when you come here, you should say secondly, obviously. There is usually no electricity or running water in these camps. Therefore, living in a refugee camp is a scary and difficult task, and no one should be put in these camps. Now, therefore, it's a concluding signal, which now, the last paragraph, it's concluding what the writer feels or thinks about living on refugee camps. Okay, now guys, let's read another passage that has logical connectors with different signals. Okay, here's this passage, guys, and it reads as follows. One of the greatest advantages of living in an urban rather than a rural area is the availability of electricity. In the first place, it is a great advantage for those who live in the urban areas because it provides them with access to household appliances such as electrical stoves. Furthermore, those living in urban areas can simply switch on electric lights that provide them with safe pollution-free light at night. Therefore, they can work or study at night and their properties have greater security. However, the lack of the facility of electricity in the rural areas is a great disadvantage because people living in these areas have no access to modern electrical stoves. Consequently, they have to use candles or paraffin lamps at night. which are not only unsafe but also provide poor lighting for study purposes. Moreover, they have to use open fires or wood stoves for cooking and heating, which results in large-scale air pollution. Therefore, the lack of electricity is a great disadvantage to those living in rural areas because, unlike those living in urban areas, they have to access the modern household appliances, nor do they have access to safe, adequate lighting at night. Now, guys, you would notice from the passage that we have different logical connectors which have different signals. Now, from here, in the first place, it's an additional signal that is starting a statement that supports the main idea. And when we go beneath here where it says advantage for those who live in the urban areas, because it provides, sorry about that guys, but remember that for you to understand these or all of these signals, you have to know that you have to understand the whole passage so that you'll be able to know what the author is trying to say, or you'll be able to identify those signals. Now, all these highlighted in yellow are additional signals that are speaking about the advantages of people living in urban areas. And then here we have a change of effect which reads, however, the lack of the facility of electricity in the rural area is a great disadvantage because people living in the areas have no access to modern electrical stoves. What is the writer doing is what the writer is doing here, he's giving us another view or another perspective of people experiencing challenges in rural areas. And obviously the logical connector there, or the signal he would use, it will be that change direction, which is however in this situation. And the writer continues, now you should notice consequently the writer has changed the direction of his statement or argument, and then after changing it with consequently, that direction that has been changed, the writer is now concluding or giving the results of what happened, because consequently it's a concluding signal. They have to use candles or paraffin lamps at night, which are not only unsafe but also provide poor lighting for study purposes. Moreover, what is he doing? Adding more information or giving supporting statements to the direction that he has took now currently. And then he continued, they have to use open fires or wood stoves for cooking and heating, which results in large-scale air pollution. Therefore, the lack of electricity is a great disadvantage to those living in rural areas, because unlike those living in urban areas, they have to access to modern household appliances, nor do they have access to safe, adequate lighting at night. You will notice after consequently the writer added some information, and therefore as a concluding signal, as well as the passage also come to an end. As the passage has to come to an end, the writer should also give brief statement that give the view of how the writer feels regarding the argument he's been speaking about. Now, when we come to the last logical connector here, it says, nor do they have access to safe, adequate lighting at night. Who are they? The people living in rural areas. Nor as a change of direction. Remember, right? Now here with no, the writer was given us, with no, do they have access to safe, adequate lighting at night? The writer was speaking, you should remember, with to us regarding two different people, those living in rural areas and those living in urban areas, and all their circumstances. Now guys, I'm going to give you a beautiful table here that that speak of the type of signals we have. We have additional signal, time signal, change of direction signal, illustration signal, conclusion signals, cause and effect. And there's a table beneath it with one example. What you would have to do net, it will just write your signal here where there's a space, or maybe in a piece of paper just for study purpose or expanding your knowledge so that you'll understand very well. And then after adding them here, you can put them in a table from where you can identify what type of the signals they are. And with that being said, that lead us to the end of our session. Thank you very much for listening. Hope to see you next time. Bye guys.